dark field. Slowly shuffling, you shoulder your shotgun, taking a peek back to your friend. Weird things have been happening lately. You, with the makeshift group of boogeyman hunters, are going to find out what the hell is going on. The suffocating darkness hugging the rays of the flashlight that your friend is holding close behind you. It's chilly. You're almost about to give up as another says, "Fuck this, man. Nothing's happening. Let's go." Just as he says that, a dark vigor raises from the grass, the soft squelch of something fleshy, glint of red leaking out of its mouth, dark fur, and a lanky silhouette. Your blood runs cold. This is the World of Darkness system. First things first, with this little talk, I am not perfect to any extent, and the way I play the World of Darkness may be different from others. This might honestly just be a ramble video about a system that I truly, very, very much, really adore, and have a lot of fun with, in all honesty. This is just to get you in the mood and understand the setting a bit more, or maybe this is just for my newer players who want to know what the hell they are stepping into. So, what is World of Darkness? Well, it's a tabletop role-playing game set in a world much like our own, or even a mirror world, just like ours, just much darker, grittier, foggier, and more horrifying than our own. Now, this system, this world, holds monsters, like werewolves, vampires, beasts, ghosts, and even Frankenstein's monsters, and a lot of other things like that. Also, yes, in this world, they actually exist, and they are just as dark and brutal as they are in any media, or even darker. But here they hide in the shadows, and some are just unfortunate to come across such creatures and to be left blinded, confused, tore up, and ready to find out what the fuck just happened. Now this system, as it shows, is really built on the sensations of dread and horror that can become incredibly personal at times, but that gothic feeling and unique horror that permeates throughout this world is unlike any other. That's the main thing about, or what leaves this game. That's the main thing about this game, though. When it takes place in our world, it leaves you thinking of these situations. What if they were to actually happen? How horrifying they can be. Monsters and creatures, horrors lurking around the corner just out of your sight. Now, as this is a role-playing game, you know it's not real, but it holds those same attributes like a movie. But this time, you are an influence and are engaged like someone in theater, which makes it all the better. Combat that hits like a truck so hard, making it something incredibly deadly, and something to always plan 3 times over if you are ever wanting to get into combat. It's like real life. You get shot and you die, or you are very likely to die. Now imagine that with a system with creatures and monsters beyond our comprehension, or at least what we know normally. The creatures and things you run into within World of Darkness seem to always, and I mean always, leave you bloody, bleeding, or dazed and confused on what happened. The idea of running into something you cannot make sense of and being stopped by the shock or anything like that is fascinating. At least in my opinion, that idea is incredible. Now my favorite books of all time, a lot of them are The Modern Prometheus, which is Frankenstein, or Carmilla, Dracula, or other Gothic novels as such. Even the Anita Blake series, I adore it so much, which is actually my favorite book series of all time. But the foggy city streets and the dark noir feeling that flows over this game is stunning and yet exciting and adventurous all at the same time. All you have to do is look at the cover, and you immediately are drawn into the headspace of the dark blue moonlight, or a group of office workers with shotguns looking for something, that skittering thing that lives on floor 7 of their workplace. Or maybe the local biker gang has gone missing, one of them looking for their group, but now a computer tech's dog is missing as well, so he goes and looks for it, and will do anything to find Fido. And obviously, your friendly neighborhood widow is now searching for her husband who went missing at the same time as all of the others, and are led to the same thing, a very dark, dreadful rabbit hole. What is it? It leaves them to ask questions, but suddenly they're a group. These are just some ideas, but the intertwining dark tales that can be told along with the character dialogue and people you can craft with in the setting, even the normalest of people, are damn right amazing. Playing World of Darkness, by the way, is like having a theatrical story you go through with dice and rules. If you've never played a role-playing game before, one person makes a story and gives characters for the players to interact with along the way of this dreadful story, or thrillful, or whatever the GM wants out of this horrific experience. That goes along with players acting with the characters they made into the crafted world. This means the storyteller has non-player characters and all of the other characters within this world, including the monsters and people that your players interact with. But make no mistake, players are the meat of this story. While the storyteller gives the walls and the world and the pawns, the characters take place within the sandbox and will be the focus. So, GMs, here's some things. Things that go bump in the night, skittering and hiding in the shadows along with horrifying nightmares to rip people apart or slowly leech off of their life. Storytellers have things, and as a GM or a game master, you are a storyteller, and that brings a lot of ideas to the table, and you have these things at your disposal that are much more horrifying and stronger than players, so use them cautiously and wisely. Though whatever is happening behind the scenes should be having its own focus, the players may just stumble upon it and deal with it, never knowing exactly what happened or looking for it and trying to figure out more. Whatever it is, or what's happening, is shrouded in darkness before it's too late. The thing is, as more is uncovered, players should prepare and hopefully have the time to at least oppose whatever it is, or get small bouts of information. Animals and people going missing, and they find out it's a man of some sort, when finding out the bodies later are drained, and your character is going to deny it, that it's a vampire by getting too close. But then, suddenly one night, you are in meets with this gangly looking man, and he's hooded, and you have no idea what to do, and you know maybe he's a serial killer that's murdering these people and he's crazy, but it's until he suddenly goes invisible and throws you into a wall, and you're bleeding out, and you see his fangs as he sprints away in a blur. That's when your character should go, was that a vampire? Am I crazy? Was he just really strong? That's the idea that this game provokes. Things should be shrouded in mystery, and your characters should not know until it's too late. Even if they do hunt a vampire down, and they know it's a vampire, or they're convinced it's a vampire, they're going to sound crazy to everybody else. And when they finally kill him, it might just be dust by the next day, and no one might ever believe them. If they do, what happens next? As a GM, as a storyteller, you have vampires controlling entire cities, or just going out for drinks every night, from the ones in the sewers, or the ones hiding under beds and feeding on the weak and the children, or killing those getting close to figuring out who and what they are. You have werewolves, maybe a rogue one, on the outsides of town, raging on a full moon, mutilating cattle, looking for another monster that the players don't even know of. Witches, magi, ghosts, wraiths, the fucking fae, and changelings, and Prometheans, which are Frankenstein's monster with the strength of 4 werewolves, which are 4 times stronger than vampires. Not only that, but you can make your own twisted creatures within this dark gothic world and haunt the fuck out of your players and creep them out. This is a game you can do so much with, and I've ran it about 3 times, 3 full campaigns, and it is spectacular. I love this system. The system is also incredibly simple, and the things in the horror you can create can be exciting, fun monster hunts, or they can be dreadful, thrilling stories of horror. Or it can be focused on the horror of your players, which a lot of this game can even come from, with drugs and alcohol and things along that nature. Just some awesome places for your World of Darkness campaigns: rundown harbors, the out-of-the-way forest and small town in the mountains, the abandoned hospital within the city, a bar that is weirdly out of place, the sewers, which things have been going missing into lately, downtown, abandoned aborted houses where it could just be a gang or gang wars, but there has been way too many dead bodies, but the police just won't look into it. Things like that. There is a whole lot of places you can put it in. But, things to capitalize on. As I said before, leaving your players always guessing at what is happening till whatever hits them makes them want to run or fight harder. But leave them guessing and wanting to know more, making them get into more trouble than it's worth. Even if it's talking to the hardcore bar owner who has a grudge against them, or figuring out, hey, we're hunting a serial killer, but the police won't help us, but the serial killer is a sadistic Promethean who only wants love and is skinning people and is way stronger than them. Things like that. Look at who your players know and their friends within game, and these are character friends, of course, or the people they start talking to, and make interesting characters for people to enjoy and remember. Non-player characters are incredibly important, and they make the game for your players too. Having fun people to interact with, or having a guy who you just fucking hate as a player can make all the better, and things can change. Remember, things will change. Like, the story you set out to tell can change by the people who are playing, so adapt. Be ready for that, especially. This game holds a lot of dark secrets, and when your normal life turns around and characters start to unravel the secrets, it should be dark. This is World of Darkness, and very real to them. As characters, this should be very real. Almost dreamlike, even to a point of unbelievable. Seeing a hooded man with a marble-like skin and yellow eyes looking at a dead body, then run away as your group enters a room, knowing that this is the person they've been chasing, should leave your characters cold-blooded. Especially if he jumps off a roof and completely makes it into the night, or moves like a blur. Having marble skin and yellow eyes isn't natural. Seeing someone crushed and gutted and ripped apart isn't natural. And that should make your character's blood go cold and their minds confused, questioning themselves constantly. As a GM, that's what you're pushing for, or maybe it's not, as this is how I run my games. But leaving mystery always gives player more instinct to keep going, even if it's not something you want to do. As a player, or as a person in real life, in fact, you can go and you can run into something on a dark night and you hear something and you go, I know this isn't right. Should I go look at it? Should I go look at it? And that one thing in the back of your brain makes you want to go look at it. Interest is, and curiosity is a powerful tool. Now let's talk about players, because I've been talking about characters and things like that. No, the one thing is, you don't truly know what's going on, and I suggest you play that way until you run into something you can't deny that is supernatural. The best thing to do is to walk into this blind. Act like a simple citizen. Not everyone knows about the undead. You could be a practitioner of voodoo, or a Wiccan, or anything like that, and believe in the occult, or even a ghost hunter and things. And you might be weirded by the experiences you have and that magic you feel, but You will never truly know the supernatural until you're face to face with it and scared. And I think that's something characters you should do. And it helps a lot, especially to get into that mindset so that your character is afraid. Or maybe they're not afraid. Maybe they want to fight, and that can even get them in more trouble. And one thing that's really awesome about this system that I want to pursue more is the best thing is that there are no classes. Along with this, you don't have to learn a ton, and making a character is literally on the sheet, and it's very, very simple. Play your character, interact with others, whatever the situation is, and immerse in the darkness of this world. Just get in there, get the meat of it, and play. Don't hold yourself back. Take your part in this story that you guys are making together. Be a character and take risks, or at least look at what your character would do. There are so many possibilities. I always make sure when my players are making a character, they look at archetypes, professions, because they can build off of that. You can build a person off of that. Like mentioned, the biker or the office workers, just make sure it's within the GM's limits and play off of that. Have fun with it, that's the point. Make a story with each other and take the bullet if you need to, because sometimes, more often than not, it's going to hit you like a truck. Like a big furry running at you with full speed, crushing your ribs, or a long-toothed, rotting, flesh-twisted corpse who can turn invisible, crushing your shoulder blade after killing your friend by throwing him through a wall. Take the fucking bullet. It's okay if you die. You're facing things that are a lot stronger than you, and that's the point. Sometimes it might be a little unfair, and I think that's also on the GM side, but don't do stupid things. Or do stupid things. Have fun with it. And, don't get upset. Or at least try not to. Live this. Make your character. Feel them like you're going to be playing as them. Make someone you enjoy to play. Role play them and run with it. Sometimes just figuring out more and compromising to survive is the goal. And playing the character that you want, that's the goal. Role play your character and run with it. Try to go with the story as much as possible. And sometimes it might detour into something different on your personal character's life. And that is something amazing as well. So how do you make a cool character as I talk about this? Character creation, as I said before, is literally on the sheet, which makes things so easy when creating characters and allows for people to just hop right in and kind of let the storyteller help a little bit through, and really it can be incredibly fast. Going by your archetype and thinking of a one-sentence backstory always leaves a lot to the mind, especially for a storyteller, and I'm always the storyteller. So it always really helps to have that one sentence or a paragraph even to build upon together and just work together and let you be in the mind of your character, and also leave something for the storyteller to make sure to entangle you in as well. And leave it a little bit vague so the storyteller can intertwine it with the story they have built. Some examples: a veteran with a canine who lost his eye in a war, but still can't explain how his squad all just disappeared or died on that one overnight camping trip when they came back. A hitman caught up in a very interesting job. The hacker who has a history of breaking into places they shouldn't at a very young age. A mechanic who can't let go of their ties with the mob, or in this case, any ordinary person at the wrong place at the wrong time, or with a very interesting thing. Now, let me talk about why I love World of Darkness. This game doesn't hold back any punches, or I don't have to hold back my punches and show my characters the trials and the horrors that are a part of this world. A lot of times this is more in them and the human dilemma, which holds just people back rather than only the monsters. The interesting characters that I have seen, it's incredible. I've always seen interesting characters in this game. Always playing this game has made me love it more. Honestly, characters are the meat of the entire game because of how they work with one another and the situation that persists. The professional hitmen who were fathers or the girl who knows voodoo and is now making up for a debt by the top mob boss in New Orleans who secretly can control ghosts and killed her mother. Even a freaking escaped, and this is very true, even a freaking escaped convict following a monster hunter to get a new thrill and murder because he doesn't just want to fight and kill people anymore. He wants to kill monsters. And he's a monster himself. I had one player who was a local ex-SWAT member who gets shot in the leg by the same twisted hunter and had revenge, and then turned into a vampire later who got revenge on him, and then because he was almost close to death, he walked out in the sunlight because that was his mission. That was his goal. I love these opportunities, and that's not all. Now, something to talk about for GMs here, the NPCs. This is even more a marvel because I have reoccurring NPCs, non-player characters that the GM controls, of course, monsters, humans, and people of all of my series who I adore. And one of my favorites, a beast gorgon mistress of a nightclub, owning 2 were-leopards, and yes, you heard me right, were-leopards, not werewolves, were-leopards, signing people to do work with her after encountering the supernatural, serial killer Promethean Frankenstein's monsters who wanted to love but lost their minds and became Pandorian? Incredible. Like, I couldn't do that without this system, or I could have, but this system made it so much better. This is a dark world. Take your time and explore the gothic, dreadful possibilities. Just have fun with it. I've seen laughter and comedy in World of Darkness, but when things get personal, when people like roleplay, it gets fucking personal. Or when they run into something that's part of the characters, it gets really serious. Then my players get serious, and that's always something I love as a GM. As a storyteller, seeing someone get in the game when they're fucking around half of the time, it's incredible. It's a game where combat is very real. Getting shot isn't a joke, and the people around you can be just as deadly as the monsters and shadows that plague and hide around the corner. There's always something just in the shadows. You just can't see it until it's too late. Making chilling tales, dreadful tragedies, or stories that you will never forget. I have run this so much and still is one of my favorite systems of all time. I wish I had more people to play it with, but the stories I have, I can always tell them. And honestly, I might make a book of it one day and just release it because it's so fun. All of it's on my channel even. I just can't not love it because of the interesting tales that I've been able to tell. But that's why I love World of Darkness. So, inspirations. What are some inspirations that might help new people get into this? Or might inspire them to have that gothic feel? Well, The Lost Boys. You want vampires? Go watch The Lost Boys. Or Underworld. Or Interview with a Vampire. Get your vampire on and add them in. Because the vampires in World of Darkness are just as dark, fucked up, and brutal as anything else. Go get your vampire on, put them in, and this is the World of Darkness. You're playing as ordinary Joes. One vampire can fuck up an entire group. Supernatural, even. Yeah, I'm hearing people boo already. Supernatural is kind of neat. I mean, thinking of it, it's a lot more like Hunter, hunting monsters, but in a way, go look at the ordinary people Sam and Dean meet in Supernatural and how suddenly they have to get thrown into this. You're not Sam and Dean. You're the ordinary people that run into the monsters that might just need to figure it out for them fucking selves. Okay, The Crow. The Crow was my entire inspiration for my very first series on YouTube. The Crow was amazing, and seriously, go watch it. It's beautiful. That dark gothic undertone, I've never seen anything hit The Crow. Hit like The Crow, unless it's a book. That visual series, that visual of World of Darkness is in The Crow. along with Prometheans and Revenants and that idea, The Crow has that very strong feeling. 7. It's a serial killer movie, but that dark noir feeling of trying to find a serial killer. You can get a lot of twisted ideas from it, and the horror and brutality. It was just something I thought of putting on this list. The Anita Blake novels. All right, yes, they're known to the entire world in Anita Blake, but if you're not past erotica and stuff like that, and honestly, I don't read Anita Blake just for that reason. Anita Blake is a fantastic, thrilling... I don't even know how to say it. As I said, they are some of my favorite books of all time, and I'm still reading the series today. And Anita Blake, always, I'll pick up a book, and I've read the first book at least 3 times. Anita Blake novels are your best friend, and they are super good on telling with werewolf dynamics, vampire abilities, and a whole bunch of crazy shit. If you don't want to go buy the other books that are a part of this world, you can get some really neat ideas if vampires or werewolves weren't in Anita Blake, among us humans. The modern Prometheus or Frankenstein, if you're running Prometheans and like the Created and stuff like that. But overall, all of the other books for Chronicles of Darkness, World of Darkness isn't it. It's my favorite, yes, but Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Forsaken, I've only played Apocalypse, so I don't know about Forsaken, Geist Sin Eater, which, God, I wish I had, Promethean the Created, which is one of my favorites, because, seriously, using a Frankenstein, people don't expect it, and they're super tough, and they can rip you apart. Mummy the Cursed, which I haven't played, but even honestly, the old books of World of Darkness, like Vampire the Masquerade and stuff, they get the idea, and you can get it. You can get a better idea of the world that you want to create through these. And you get an idea of how to craft these horrifying worlds. Any vampire, werewolf, or twitchy horrifying ghost movie. Like, if you want a ghost, go watch The Grudge or, Ringu or something. Because, man, I haven't done it yet, but I really want to. Having a ghost is horrifying, and being chased down by a ghost, especially, a twitchy, weird, Japanese ghost, or... That is twisted. That is horrifying, in my opinion. Series to go watch. And I just have one on this list because I haven't watched a ton of the World of Darkness series. But since I want to make a thing out of 10-minute talks, of which I really need to rename this because I already made the background for it and everything, that's why there's a question mark. 10-minute talks? Shrug? Go watch Just Around the Corner. I will not spoil anything. Just Around the Corner by Rule For It. I will put a link in the description. Go watch it now. It's on YouTube. And if you want World of Darkness and you want to get the feeling right, just the freaking trailer will get you in the mood. And it's amazing. I spent an entire summer waiting for every single episode when they first came out with it. And the cast and how the characters work. If you want to go show your players how to go roleplay, go look at that. It's wonderful. Literally, why I spent all of my money from a summer job was on World of Darkness, because gothic horror is my favorite genre of all time. And Just Around the Corner got me into World of Darkness. Not vampire, not werewolf, but World of Darkness. Because here's the reason. World of Darkness was about some ordinary people in a bad situation. And that's fucking neat. So, I really hope you guys enjoyed this. This is my 10-minute talks, The World of Darkness by Steve the Storyteller. You know, this is kind of a how-to, kind of get into it, but if you guys want something to actually, know how to play World of Darkness and stuff like that, maybe I'll create something like that. Maybe call it how-to. But, hope you're listening. This was a lot longer than 10 minutes, so Well, everyone, hope you like this, and hopefully more World of Darkness is coming soon.